If you're storing your Azure Data Lake client secret directly inside of Databricks Notebook, like we did in our Databricks Day 3 series, that is something that you should avoid doing. In this video, I will show you how to store the secret securely in Azure Key Vault. Connect your Key Vault with Databricks using Secret Scope, and then use the secrets to access and read data from your Azure Data Lake. The list of things we'll be going through today will be creating Key Vault, Azure Key Vault, creating secret in Key Vault, creating Secret Scope in Databricks, use a utility called Secret in Databricks, and connect to Data Lake from Databricks using Key Vault Secret, and then read data from Data Lake just to confirm that our process is working. So if you've not watched our previous video, which is Databricks Day 3, I would recommend you go watch that video. So in that video, we explore how to access data in our data lake from our Databricks. So by so doing, we had coded some secrets and sensitive information into our notebook, and this is not best practice. So the right way to store password, to store secret and sensitive information is using Azure Key Vault. So let's head to our Azure portal and run through the implementation process. So before we start the implementation, let's understand the architecture. Here we have Azure Key Vault. This is where we store client secrets securely. And then we have Azure Databricks Secret Scope. And we have Azure Databricks. And we have Microsoft Intra ID. And then we have Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So instead of storing our secrets directly inside of the Databricks notebook here, like we did in our Databricks Day 3 video series, then we store it securely inside of Azure Key Vault. And every secret, password, client credentials that we store within Azure Key Vault are all encrypted. So that gives us additional level of security. So then, inside Databricks, we create a secret scope. Inside of Databricks here, we create a Databricks secret scope. This secret scope is backed by Azure Key Vault. This allows our notebook to retrieve the secret using a utility within Azure Databricks called dbutils.secrets. So it's called dbutils.secrets without exposing the actual secret value. So then Databricks uses the service principal credentials to authenticate with Microsoft Intro ID, which is everything that happens within the Microsoft Intro ID. So the authentication is through the service principal. Then the Intro ID return an access token, which we can see here. Then through this access token, Databricks is able to communicate securely with Azure Databricks Storage. Finally, once authentication is successful, we can then read files such as CSV, Parquet file, or Delta file directly from Azure Data Lake. So this is the summary of Azure Databricks Secure Data Access Architecture. Okay, here in Azure portal, we have two options to create our Key Vault. We can search our Key Vault in global search here. So we are under our Key Vault here. So the next thing is we can create our Key Vault by clicking on create button. So we create, and here we choose our resource group. So I am going to get out of this and do it the other way. So to create our keywords, we head to our Azure portal, and here in Azure portal, so I can use the keywords icon that is present in my home screen here and click on this, and then I can create a keyword by clicking on the create button here. Create, then your subscription when you created your Azure account. So that's if you have multiple subscription, ensure that you're creating your keywords in the right subscription. And also our resource group. So ensure that you're creating this in the right resource group. So our resource group is Azure Databricks training. Click on that, and we need to give it a name. So the keyword name, I'll just say KVDB training. Okay, when I enter the name KVDB training, he said the name KVDB training is already taken. So I'm just going to add one in front of that. So you see the tick sign here. So that tells us that this name is available. So the next thing we need to do is ensure that we are creating our keywords in the right region. So in my Databricks day 2, I actually stress the importance of creating your resources in the right region. So if you've not watched that video, I recommend you go watch that video. So I am based in the west of England, so I am going to select UK West. Then I click on next at the bottom here to go to the next page. On this next page, select access policy. So on here, we need to specify vault access policy. We click on vault access policy. So I am going to click on this and then click on review plus create, review and create. And that is now validated. Click on create to create our keywords. So now our keyword is created. So let's go to resources, and I click on go to resource. So we are now under our keyword here. So as you can see on the top here, we have KVDB training, which is keywords Databricks training 1. So basically, to ensure that you have a set keyword access policy, so you can come to setting and access configuration here. So vault access policy, so make sure that this is ticked. And also to be able to create a secret, you need to be an admin. So you need to go to access control IAM and do add, click on add button on the top here and add role assignment and add yourself as an admin. Yeah, so do click add role assignment and then just search for keywords admin. So keyword administrator, and then next, and then add a member, search for your name and add yourself if you're not an admin in this keyword workspace. So to add your secret, you go to object and then secret. So let's add our secret, and then once you're here, generate or import secret, click on generate, and then let's give it a name. We give it Databricks training secret. Yeah, so let's just call it that. Let me take out what I have here before. Then what we do is go to our secret, which we have that we created when we created our Entra ID. That was in our Databricks day 3. So if you've not watched that video, I recommend you go watch that video. So that secret that we created that we generated. This is the secret here, so we can just grab it because in our notebook here, we've actually used the secrets directly here. So which is not a best practice. So we should keep our secrets and passwords and sensitive information securely safe. We should keep them secure. So I'm going to get this secret here, head back to my Key Vault, and then paste this secret here, and then make sure that it's enabled. And the next thing is create. So we have now successfully created our secret. So congratulations to us. So the next thing is we need to create a scope. So to create a scope, we can head to our Databricks and copy our Databricks link and stop at this .NET here. Copy that, open a new tab, paste it here. Or alternatively, you can go to your Azure portal, go to the resource group. Let's go to our resource group, RG Databricks training. And in here, so this is our Databricks. I can click on our Databricks, and here you can see URL here. So you can see our Databricks URL here. So we can copy this, we can grab this. This is the same as what I just copied from our Databricks UI. So here, so I have copied this on our URL here. So we add hash. Then the next is we type secret, then / create scope with capital S. So that will bring us to this page where we create our scope. We need to fill out these details, our scope name, our DNS name, and our resource ID. So let's go ahead and complete this session. So here I'm going to call it DB Databricks Training Scope with a capital S. Databricks Training Scope. Yeah, so let's leave it at that. So the DSN and the resource ID, we grab this from our Key Vault. So I'm going to go back to the resource group and I'm going to go to my Key Vault. So in the vault here, inside the vault here, so what we do is we go inside our settings and then go to properties. So inside properties, we are able to find the information, which is DNS name and the resource ID. So let's grab those information. So our DNS name is the vault URL. So we copy this from here and then paste. And our resource ID is our resource ID here. So we grab our resource ID here, paste here, and then we create. Now we've created our Key Vault in Azure portal. We've created our secret in Key Vault, and we've created our secret scope in Databricks. So now it's time to implement using the secrets that we created in Key Vault within our notebook instead of exposing the secrets and password and sensitive information within our notebooks. So let's do this. So to do this, we head to, I'm going to create a new notebook. Let's head to our workspace, Databricks training. So under Databricks training, so I click on Databricks training. So the next thing is go to create. So just to ensure that we are all on the same page here. So first thing is I went to my workspace, and then under the workspace, I went into the workspace I created for this training project. So once you're here, the next thing to do is the create button on the top here. So click on the create button to create a new notebook. So I've clicked on that. So I am creating a new notebook. So this notebook, I would call it secret. Okay. So to start with, I am going to use Markdown. That's percentage MD. That's markdown to turn this to a markdown column. So I'm going to use header 1. I'm going to say Databricks training, run this, shift enter. Alternatively, you can run it by clicking on run cell. So I am going to go to create another markdown cell. So this I'll use header 3 instead of 2. So this I will call it dbutils.secrets. Shift enter to run. So now that we have our markdown cell, so the next thing to do is to utilize dbutil secret. So it's a utility within Databricks. So on our Databricks training day 3, I talked about utility fs to get the information about the file that we have within a specific container in Databricks. So db secret is to get the secret information that we hold in our Key Vault. So to implement this, so we go for dbutils.secret.list, and then we have our scope. So the name of our scope was db training. So we have verification error here because I clicked on the create button twice. So this is the scope that we created, db training scope. So let's run this and see what we get back. Yep, so we have now successfully executed this, and as we can see here, we have our results, and the name of our secret is db training secret, which is Databricks training secret. So now let's take this folder and get this secret. So I'm going to write dbutils.secret.get. Then we define the scope. So our scope is db training scope, and the key, which is what we have here, is db training secret. So we get that. And then let's run this and see what we get back. Control Shift. So we have an error. So what does the error say? Yeah, so I figured it out. And yes, Databricks is clever. Sometimes you don't run with the crowd. So I just, because it suggested it, and I just follow the suggestion, the recommendation. So here we have DB training password. So ours is not DB training password, ours is DB training secret. So I am going to change this to DB training secret. So we run this. See, this is successful, as you can see here. So it says redated here. So that means we are able to use our secret that we created in Key Vault. Next is using the secrets that we created in Key Vaults within our notepad instead of exposing our secret and password and sensitive information within our notepad. So what we do is we replace that with the secret that we created in Key Vault, because that secret is encrypted, is secured. So let's implement that. So to do this, currently this is where we tested out using dbutil secret to test the secret, the scope that we created and the secret that we created. So we can see that came back redated. So that means we are fine, we are good to go. So to connect using the secret, what I'm going to do is go to the previous notepad that I created in our Databricks training day 3. So that is where we created this, which is here. So I am going to copy and grab all of this and paste it here. So let me just highlight it for us. So this spark.config.set. So this is our secret section. So we need to replace this with this dbutils that we've written. So we swap it out so that this use the secret from our Databricks. So what we do is this section, we replace the secrets information. So this is our secret from here to here. So this is our secret, which is what we have here, the secret information. So we are going to replace this with the dbutils code to get the secret from our Key Vault. So to do this, let's take this out and then just replace it. So that is now done. So let's test out this connection details. So I've run this and there is no error. So this is successful. So the next thing we need to do is to read a file from our data lake. So to read a file from our data lake, we create data frame. So data frame df. So we have customer data, df customer is equals to spark.read, is equals to spark.read, then dot format. The file that we have in our data lake is csv dot option. So we want the header to be true, and dot schema inferred. So we want to create a schema from the metadata information in the file. So we don't want to explicitly state this, and we want to do dot load. So we want to load the data into our data frame. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to modify this because this is suggested. So I'm going to do abfs column 2// so db training. So this is, we need to specify our container, then our lake. So our container is db training. So our container is db training. Let's just go verify this. Go to our resource group, Azure Databricks training. So our container is data source and our lake is SA Databricks training 1. SA Databricks training 1. So that's our container. That's our lake. .dfs.core.window.net. So I'm not going to specify the file. I'm not going to go into .window.net, and we have our double quote here. So I'm going to execute this. Shift enter. So that's successfully executed. So to get the, let's see the data that we just read into our data frame. So we're going to say display df customer. So we execute this. So this is our data. So instead of hard coding our secret sensitive information and password into our notebook, the best practice is basically saving this sensitive information in our Key Vault and then utilizing the Key Vault secret within our notebook. So because within Key Vault our data is encrypted. So we have successfully implemented that. So for today, our objective was to create a Key Vault, which we have done. Create secret in Key Vault, which we did. Create secret scope in Databricks, which we did. Use utility called secret within Databricks, which we did. Connect to Data Lake from Databricks using Key Vault secret, which we did. And then finally, read data from our Data Lake using the new secrets that we created in our Key Vault. So all our objectives are achieved today. So if you enjoyed this video, please engage with the video, like, comment, and most importantly, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on our latest exciting training videos. Thank you.